This meeting will come to order. This is a regular meeting of the Board of Education, and it has been so advertised. Mrs. Coleman, a roll call, please.
Mrs. Riley? Here. Mrs. Vaupel? Here. Mrs. Butchko?
That's
really?
the one I had last week. It wouldn't work.
Oh.
Here. Here.
Here. Here. Mr. Schaefer?
Here.
You can only have like one or two on at the same time. So if everybody goes like this.
All right, so now time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please stand. The flag is in the back of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, there is no executive section at this time, so we're going to move to Section 3, presentations, and Ms. Bolden.
Could you use the microphone?
All right, thank you, Ms. Bolden. Next, we have an audit presentation from Mrs. Coleman.
This is going to be extremely brief, but we did finally get the pension numbers from the state of New Jersey, so our auditor was able to finish the audit report, even though the field work was technically completed in August. So in front of you, the little black book is the audit management report, and you also have a copy of the synopsis, is basically the ending balance sheet for the school district. The entire audit has been uploaded to the school district website. So if you guys want to take a gander at it, but everything's been uploaded to Trenton as well. Just to note, there were no audit findings, so that's a good thing. And we did end the year with $142,623 in excess surplus that we did put in the 22-23 budget towards tax relief. And we also have $450,000 in unassigned fund balance, that we could use in future years. And of course, we still maintain our capital reserve and our maintenance reserve in the district. So that is it. I'm just required by law to have the presentation with you and let you know that there were no audit findings. And as a board member, I would look at the little book because it goes through. It gives you a good idea of all the codes and the statutes that I operate under, and like the testing that was performed, checking on all of these things. Just it gives you a pretty good idea of the work that was done. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any questions that the board has for Mrs. Coleman?
I have one. I'm sorry.
Did you say the little book?
Yes.
Yeah, right, okay. Got it. I was expecting something like, yeah.
I call it the little book because the actual audit book that I get is a binder. It's about this thick. And then, so that was scanned and uploaded to the website. If you feel like reading it, have at it. But that's why as a board member, that's a really good document for you to read because it gives you a really good synopsis of everything.
You mentioned the fund balance. Are you anticipating using much of that for the next year's budget?
By law, we have to use the excess surplus. So the way it works is, and this is a little confusing this year. By law, school districts usually are allowed to maintain 2% of unreserved fund balance. And anything above 2% goes, they call it excess surplus, and you have to budget it in the next year for tax relief as income. This past year, all of the funds we get from the federal government, they upped that to 4%. So your unreserved numbers are up at $400,000, but that's because it's at 4%. We're used to living at 2%. So you've got more than enough funds for what you need in the future, but we got very lucky in Oakland this year, and we did get additional state aid. It hasn't happened in a few years, so yeah, we're in a good budget position right now. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. On to item number 4, Committee of the Whole. Is there a motion that we move into Committee of the Whole?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We are in Committee of the Whole. I do see we do have a one agenda item. Is there anything? Well, let's start with the item, Track and Field Day.
So at our board meeting last month, there was a 5th grade parent who mentioned that she had tried reaching out to Collingswood about the possibility of Oaklyn participating in Collingswood's Track and Field Day. And there's been some resistance to that idea at the admin level. Bill had mentioned that we talk about it during this meeting, and then we were going to talk about it in committee meeting last week, and then we didn't get to it at committee meeting. That's my fault. I totally forgot. I woke up the next day, and I was like, that's why we forgot. So I just wanted to mention it here. I believe that I know Oakland is planning its own field day and maybe a little expanded version this year of that. So maybe Oakland going over to Collingswood Field Day doesn't sound like it'll happen this year. But I didn't want it to just fall off since it was brought up. So that's all. So if anyone has any updates or any other strong feelings one way or the other.
I had a thought about it. I was going to say, I don't think it's necessary. I think that Oakland, if we're trying to continually say we're 2 separate school districts, then we need to stay 2 separate school districts. Oakland has their events, Collingswood has their events. I think it's good to mix the kids before they go into junior high, but I don't necessarily think that's the best option.
There you go. We have had some discussion about this at PTA, and I also spoke to the parent that was at the board meeting that night. So I explained that we have our committee together for Track and Field Day. We're going to be recruiting some parents this year, inviting parents to attend. We're going to have 4 different sessions, preschool, K1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adam Scher's on board with the water ice already. We're looking into a DJ, so our Track and Field Day will go back to the way it was prior to COVID, which was a lot of fun for the kids. We've always had a fun Track and Field Day, just hasn't happened for a while, and I think that there was some confusion there, too, as to whether we even had one. But I did talk to that parent. She's completely fine with what's taking place for the 5th graders this year. And we just discussed that moving forward, it would be great to come up with some additional events that the PTAs maybe plan together. We suggested maybe a picnic in Knights Park or something for all 5th grade families to get together and get to know each other before they head over to middle school. But those 2 events weren't really the type to mix because they're during the school day. And so they're kind of traditional to our own districts. So that's where we stand. We're good.
Thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share, too, that from the PTA standpoint, we did actually survey the students as well in 5th grade to find out what they're really the most interested in. So there'll be more to come on that, but the committee is actively planning those activities. Number 1 is pool party. Shocking, I know. Which we're already planning, so that worked out well.
Thank you. Are there any other topics or any other comments, concerns that any board member would like to bring up?
I have 2 other things I should have mentioned earlier. One is exactly this mic situation that I'm being kind of anal about. But I was out of town last month while you guys had a party in here, and I tried to watch it, and I watched a lot of it. A lot of people I couldn't hear. I couldn't get the whole gist of it, and I think it's really important for us as a community, even for like data recording. Like, I mean, I know you take minutes, but to go back and be able to look back at a meeting and being able to hear and know what everybody's saying, and also kind of control the crowd a little bit to where anybody that's coming up to the microphone speaks and everybody else is quiet about it. It is a professional board. We might be a small town, but we still should do it right and just speak into the microphone clearly so everybody can hear us at home or 3 months down the road. So that's one. The other thing was the Oakland residential party that I think me and you were going to work on.
Yes.
And I didn't know if anybody else was going to join or we had any plans, because at the committee meeting, it's down at the
VFW.
down at the VFW. We were talking about like having a table, but we're like the school board, which isn't the most exciting place to be. And if anybody else had a draw,
For yourself.
if anybody else had a draw or something that we could give out, we were talking about giving away some pins, but I mean it's just a pin. I did mention I had a cotton candy machine, but I think that might be over the top. But if anybody has any ideas on what we could do for that, that would be cool, just to get the community a little bit more involved.
I just think we just have to be very careful because we have to make sure that we might be representing the board there. Like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to make it that day, but just in general. but you don't want people to come up and start complaining about something. And, like, they have to make sure that it's very clear and that they understand, like, that they know. Because that's the biggest concern is people think, oh, I got access. I'm going to say something. That's not the place for it. And we just got to make sure we stick to that and that they do that because otherwise we could have problems later.
Agreed. So one of the things I brought up in our committee last week was to have a list of future meetings so that we can, get that more widely out there so there's more people attending in person. I thought today maybe we could have candy. I know we can't pay for that, but we can pay for that. So I can buy candy and at least have something because there'll be kids there, and that's always fun. But if anyone else can join us next week, so Jimmy and I will be there. We're bringing our own table and chairs. So it's from 6 to 7:30 in the VFW Park next Wednesday evening. And lots of other organizations will be there as well. Should be a fun night.
6 to 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Might not be a bad idea to have a list of like Zoom links for both Collingswood and Oakland in case people don't know where they are, and a list of the board meeting dates so that people are aware. I mean, I know they're online, but every once in a while and it could fill up your table a little bit, you know what I mean? And what else did I say? There was something else. Oh,
Actually,
you might even want to set up a Chromebook and have one of our better board meetings playing so that people can say, oh yeah, where I really can sit home, with my cup of coffee and the kids playing at my feet and watch what's going on and what's happening. So, not last week.
I think that's an interesting idea. I would recommend not last month, but I think I get somebody reaches out to me before every board meeting about how to watch it.
They do, yeah.
So I think that's a really good idea because it's not Zoom; it's a live stream on YouTube.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And they cannot comment. So I mean, I think communicating. I think that's a really important thing that our
that's my
committee
big deal. Is
should be working on is communication.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things.
And also where to see the minutes of the meeting if you miss the YouTube, or you don't want to watch the YouTube.
Right. And another thing would be
like
to maybe take one of our agendas that's sitting in front of us that people can usually pick up for and say, this is what this means. You know what I mean? When this is what the body of the whole, and explaining to people what they're listening to and this will get people away from asking you specific questions. You're just trying to explain to them, what we do and why we're here. We don't want you guys to get cornered under any circumstances. I won't be there. It's the evening before my birthday. What, you mean 69? I don't think so.
Is there someone in your office that can make copies of agendas and meeting dates?
Yeah, if you send me like as a list of what you want taken off the website, I can see if somebody can put it together.
Cool, that's perfect. And I can pick it up. Thank you.
That's a week. It's a week from today, right?
No.
Or tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We could do. I could do this. I could work with you and provide you QR codes that could go onto the meeting minutes. So like, and the QR codes, you know what that what the QR code is.
Mm-hmm.
So the QR codes could be on the people's refrigerator, and they could literally scan that QR code and it will take it to the YouTube.
That's
you
even
know.
a better idea.
Yeah, we could have a QR code, and that way,
Yeah.
I would say if we had time, we could make magnets, but we don't have time for that. But yeah, just
Next
to print
year.
out paper.
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year, right? Next year.
And
yeah.
so that would be just directly to the
Yeah.
Collingswood Oakland YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, don't forget
Yeah,
the
they're both-
Collingswood one either, because there are a lot of parents that like to sit in on that, and
Yep.
they exactly, yeah, and they need to know how to connect, because I always have trouble trying to connect with the Oakland one, I mean the Collingswood one, because I know what this is all about. So,
yeah.
and they need to understand it's a different night too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll work with you on getting those set up and send them over.
And thank you both for volunteering. That really is great to spend your time. Really.
So, yeah, I think that'll be a great opportunity, kind of an informative session, do some good community relations work, and let people know what we're doing. So, great, thank you for that. Any other topics a board member would like to bring up?
I have something else. So after our last meeting, email went out to parents stating that at our meeting tonight, we'd be discussing additional quarantine, isolation protocols, and that's not on our agenda. So I'm just wondering if there's an update somewhere.
Unless I do not have
I know,
one, I mean,
little
other than
question.
the last update that would have been provided to Collingswood and Oakland families. That's the most recent update
Yeah.
that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Just thank you.
Let's put that under the context of this for next month, and we'll talk to Dr.
I just
Dowson.
want to
He-
make sure
he
that what
probably
we're
has them.
communicating
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
what we're delivering. And
Absolutely.
if we're telling people that we're going to be discussing something at
It
a
should
board
be there.
meeting, we should be discussing it at a board
Absolutely.
meeting. And if we're not planning to, then we shouldn't state that we are.
Did this email just go to like this school or
It went to parents.
for,
Yeah,
for
it
just
was-
Oakland?
I believe it was both
It was
communities.
both, but it was separate, one for Oakland and one for Collingswood, but I believe they were
Because I just don't
similar.
remember seeing one for the middle school. That's why. And I usually read them.
Is
but-
it on the agenda for the next, when is the next Collingswood meeting?
Well, the 28th, March 28th is their regular.
I'm trying to find it now, but anyway,
In,
that's all.
in the honest defense that we're not talking about it, I think that would be also a Dr. McDowell thing to be really talking about as well. I don't think, I don't think any of us are in the position to even talk about it, but it's good that, we should next time, and maybe we could ask him to mention it at the Collingswood station. No, not on the train.
Duly noted.
Right. Yeah, I didn't realize he was not going to be here until we got here. But thank you for that.
No, you're completely right, though. I mean, any parent at home could be expecting to have an update on that, so thanks.
Especially when it comes out in an email saying it's coming. That's never good.
All right, any other items? Is there a motion to come out of committee of the whole?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a second? Not that I was- All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next item, section 5, our future dates and miscellaneous information. You can see the upcoming dates there. We have a PTA Bingo Family Fun Night coming up, and you can see the other events there. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections to those future dates? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to section 6. This is the routine board business, and we're looking for approval of the minutes from from our meeting on February 15th. So do we have a motion to approve the board minutes of our February 15th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Moving on, section 7. This is our first public comment section of the evening. We ask that you please stand, state your name and address, keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. This first public comment section is for items on the agenda only. There will be a section later in the night for general comments. So if anyone has a comment, please come forward.
Chuck Lehman, 89 Kendall Boulevard. I'm the one from the Civic Association and Council that's putting together this meet and greet next week. It's Wednesday, 6 o'clock at the VFW. We're doing this because, well, first of all, there's so many new people in town with young kids that don't know all that's going on in Oakland, all the great organizations, all the volunteer groups. So this is a first. We've never done this before. We want to have them, whole community involved, let everybody know, whether you're the Girl Scouts, the soccer, the summer things, the Democrat Club, the council, the Green Team, the Civic Association, and have folks go to the VFW Park. We're going to set up tables all around the park, and all the groups are going to have a table there, and hopefully you'll have some literature and maybe a sign-up sheet and whatnot. So, and I've worked with Denise to do this. We're really looking forward to this. This is really going to be a big deal. So hopefully, well, the school board is going to have a presence there too. So we'll see you next week. And I'm going to go home and do a code red tonight, so you all hear me on the telephone in about an hour.
Thanks for organizing it, Chuck.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Moving on to the next section, item 8, the superintendent's report.
In the superintendent's absence, I will go through the report. Item 8.01 is the enrollment this February of 264 versus February of 2021, which was 274, so down about 10 children. 8.02 is the school safety and drill report for February 2022. 803 is the suspension report. 804 is the anti-bullying report. 805 is the child study team report from Dr. Whitehouse. And 8.06 is the bus evacuation drill report from Camden County Ed Services Commission. They're the group that provides our busing services, and the drill was conducted on March 4th.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Coleman. Are there any questions or comments on those items?
Bus evacuation drill, a new report.
Bus evacuation drills are mandatory, so the accept. We've always done the drills. I'm sorry. I've got Mr. Stott's microphone. He's not kidding when he says it beeps out. We've always done the drills, but now with CUSAC, they want proof that we're getting the reports of the drills and that we are communicating that to the public that bus drills are being conducted. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I don't recall seeing that one. That's why I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
I knew it was happening, but yeah. Thank you.
All right. Next section, the business administrator and board secretary report. Mrs. Coleman again.
Okay. 9.01 is the report of your monthly transfers for the month of February. 9.02 are all of your financial statements, board secretary treasurer's report, and cash reports for the month of February. 9.03 is a listing of the purchase orders that have been issued for Oaklyn for the month of March. 9.04 is a listing of the warrants to be paid tomorrow morning. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Coleman. Next section, section 10, the Finance, Buildings, and Grounds Committee. I'll take care of that one. All right, items 10.01 through 10.06 are the items that were just presented by Mrs. Coleman for our approval tonight. Item 10.07 are requests for the professional services that are offered here at the school. Item 10.08 is for shared administrative services agreement with the Collingswood Board, through the Collingswood Board of Education. Item 10.09 is for our shared music instruction service agreement, again with Collingswood. Item 10.10 is shared child study team service agreement with Collingswood. Item 10.11, our shared preschool instructional services agreement, again, through the Collingswood Board of Education. Item 10.12 is a shared media specialist service agreement with the Collingswood Board. Item 10.13 is a shared information technology service agreement with the Collingswood Board. Item 10.14 is the shared custodial and maintenance service agreement with Collingswood. Item 10.15 is real-time information technology, special education management module. And that item there will give us some cost-saving and more efficient IEP software here in Oakland. Item 10.16 is for South Jersey Speech Language Pathology. That will be for a speech pathologist that will provide services in Spanish for a Spanish speaker here in the school. And item 10.17 is the acceptance of our 2021 audit, which was presented earlier. Item 10.18 is the submission of the 2022-2023 budget to the New Jersey Department of Education. Item 10.19 is approving the Hardenberg Insurance Group for Risk Management Consultant. That's our broker of record here. And item 10.20 is the revised use of facilities request for Oakland Little League. And we are asking your approval on those items. That would be 10.01 through 10.20. Is there a motion to approve those items?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments on those items?
I have a question just about the 10.18. So this is the final of the budget?
This is I call it the preliminary. This is the budget to go to the state for review and approval. The final, the budget presentation will be our next board meeting, which is Tuesday, April 26th.
That's what I
So
thought.
it could
Thank you.
change between now
Got
and then if the board decided to. But that, this is to get it approved with the state. And then, like I said, the final with the budget presentation by Dr. McDowell is in April. Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Riley,
Yes.
Mrs. Valpel,
Yes.
Mrs. Butchko,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes.
Mr. Tavy,
Yes.
Mrs. Ezekiel, Mrs. Marmion,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes. All right, next section, 11, Curriculum and Personnel Committee, Mrs. Riley.
11, oops, wait a minute, hold on, I got you. All right. 11.01, there are no field trips at this time. 11.02, we have a FMLA and New Jersey FLA employee number 10640 to approve. At 11.03, we have a transfer of Jennifer Serena. 11.04, we have a part-time nurse contract revision for Jennifer Yoder. For 11.05, for Rosemary Scott, we have a long-term substitute replacement teacher in place. For 11.06, we have Maria Southard, a long-term substitute replacement teacher. 11.07, we have Michelle Shapley, a long-term substitute preschool floater teacher. 11.08, there are no substitutes and tutors to approve at this time. And 11.09, there are no travel expenses to approve at this time. Okay, so we have, we need approval on 11.01 to 11.09, please.
So is there a motion to approve items 11.02 through 11.07?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments on those items? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Riley, Mrs. Valpel,
Yes.
Mrs. Butchko,
Yes.
Mr. McMillan,
Yes.
Mr. Tavy,
Yes.
Mrs. Ezekiel,
Yes.
Mrs. Marmion,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes. All right, on to section 12. This is School Community Relations and Policy Committee. Mrs. Butchko.
The PTA's been busy. So they met on March 1st. They hosted a virtual family reading experience featuring Pete the Cat and Encanto on March March 3rd. There was a Dine and Donate at Mulligan's on March 7th. Last Friday was the virtual talent show, which was amazing. Thanks to Therese, as well as Karen Williams and Kristen Pollock, who organized that event. It was really spectacular. There was money raised for it during the event through Venmo, as well as Eventbrite beforehand. There was also a Dine and Donate that night, so people could order pizza from Pepperoni Pizza. PTA also sold concession buckets, which had like popcorn and candy in them. So raised about $1,800. So after expenses, netting over $1,000. That's great. There's a Texas sale going on this week, which I saw today is sold out. That was listed as well. There is a bingo night this Friday in person in the cafeteria, which is a Dine and Donate the next week at Common Ground. The blood drive has been rescheduled for March 26th. The spring fling will be Saturday, May 14th, so there's lots of planning going on for that. There's planning going on for 5th grade promotion activities. There is a pie sale coming soon and Hershey Park fundraiser starting soon. There's also Spirit Wear shirts on sale now through April 3rd. And the Teacher and Staff Appreciation Committee has started planning for that week, which is the first week. Thank you. PTA will be at the Oakland Resident Night next week. And the next meeting is Tuesday, April 5th at 6:30 in the library. So now I'm going to go to Therese for the OMASAC report.
OMASAC has not met since our last meeting, but I'm here to report that the Celebrity Gym Night will be March 25th at 7 o'clock. They're working on who the celebrities will be, but any and all board members are welcome to play. And OMASAC's next meeting will be Monday the 21st. That's it.
A question about the OMASAC gym night. If kids already signed up, do they have to sign up again, or like?
You need to register just once.
Okay.
So if you haven't registered, have to do that. But yeah, just once. Thank you.
Mr. Stotts is not here. Does anyone have a Collingswood board update?
I can just say the Collingswood Board is meeting on this Thursday just to approve their budget to go to the county because their board meeting on the 28th is outside the parameters of when our budget's due. And then the regular board meeting is March 28th.
And they had the vote for the no mask as well.
Correct. Yeah. Their mask option.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it back to Therese for the Oakland Education Foundation report.
So OEF has not met since our last meeting, but they completed a spring sale for Gertrude Hawk fundraiser, and they are working on informational marketing materials for the community and for teachers. I'm guessing also to advertise the teacher grants that OEF can give. And we'll also have a table at the resident night on the 23rd. And going forward, Jimmy McMillan is going to be joining me for the next meeting that we have that's not yet scheduled. But I'll be reaching out to the president, Kim Love, to see about that, and he might be taking over the liaison duty for OEF. That's it.
You've worked so hard doing all these committees. I thought I could help out a little bit.
For 12.05 policies, there are no policies for the first reading. 12.06, there are a number of policies listed for the second reading, which we need to approve this evening. 12.07 is the regulations for the policies referenced in 12.06 that we will approve tonight as well. And that is all.
Thank you. So we're looking for a motion to approve items 12.06 through 12.07.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Riley?
Yes.
Mrs. Valpel? Mrs. Butchko? Mr. McMillan?
They're dying.
Mr. Tavy?
Yes.
Mrs. Ezekiel? Mrs. Marmion? Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Oh, you know why? 'Cause we're both.
You're both on. Everybody, 1, 2, 3's on, yeah. Yep, I'm on too.
All right. Next section, section 13, miscellaneous. There are no previous HIB reports from last month. On to section 14. This is our next public participation section. Again, please stand and state your name. Please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. During this portion. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I actually have a submission that was sent to me during the meeting. It is from Brett Love. He's at 20 Harding Avenue, and I'm just going to read it. I am here to discuss something from last month's meeting. I do not wish to further the mask debate or revive it. However, I would like to discuss how this board decided to vote to become mask optional on March 7th. This decision was made not because of a recommendation from the superintendent, not because of statistics and evidence pointed towards a considerably lower risk at the time, not because of overwhelming evidence that masks are a substantial detriment to the ability of our children to learn. The decision was made just because the board members wanted it due to their own personal opinions and beliefs. I remind the board that they are elected officials here to represent the residents of Oakland. It is not too much to ask that our elected officials make decisions that affect our children and their teachers after they have gone over all available information and recommendations from experts, officials, and the people actually in the building with our children. 5 board members could not wait for this information. They voted because they just thought it was time to stop wearing masks. Based on what? Everyone in this town, everyone in this world wants our children to stop wearing them. Everyone. The other board members and superintendent were not recommending that they keep the masks on. It was clear they did not want to make that decision without all available information. The same consideration should have been given for the other side of the debate. No vote should have been made to become optional without the information the superintendent was waiting on. I expect that in the future this board will not make decisions based on their personal beliefs. I would be interested to know if the board members who made statements about masks, vaccines, and how people live in quote-unquote fear are infectious disease experts, vaccine researchers, or sociologists. If not, then I feel it is irresponsible for an elected official to speak and portray themselves to be. It is the members of the board's civic duty to make informed decisions that benefit all students of this district based on credible and actual proof for all matters. And I was told that Mr. Love wanted to be here but had a family issue that just came up.
Thanks.
Any other comments? Questions? All right. Moving on to item number 15, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Nicely done. I'm only going to be 10 minutes late. I don't have a problem with it. No, even so, I think that if somebody takes the time to, like, because, I mean, I guess, especially, like, something came up, like, he was intending to come. No, my opinion is I don't have a problem with it. I think if somebody wanted to